So our next session is going to give us a little bit of insight into how we can begin to leverage and understand remote work and how we can turn it into something that's actually a competitive advantage. And I think there's so much resistance to this idea of remote work, and we want to, force people to come back into the office. But what if we changed our mindset? What if we understood how it could really work for us or instead of against us? How do we leverage it as a tool and as a resource? So our next session is going to be distributed work, unleash your competitive advantage through distributed work. And it's going to be brought to us by Dirk Propfe, the president and CEO of ET Group. Join me in welcoming Dirk to the stage. You're Dirk.
Making sure the mic works okay, yeah?
All right, I'll run it up to you, don't worry. I got your back.
Beautiful. Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into a topic that's not just timely, but essential. Actually, I may just want to. All right, so it's a topic that's not just timely, but it's also essential. How to truly unleash our competitive advantages through our distributed work environment. But let me tell you something that you probably already know, that flexible work policies, more fancy technology tools, and employee well-being programs are not going to be enough. Today, we're going to explore a few but very deep and impactful changes that can help your organization make the most out of our hybrid work reality. But to understand our current challenges and our opportunities, I want to take you back to where our traditional organizations were born from. Let's go back to the 1900s. And before the Industrial Revolution and the creation of huge factories, most workers were farmers with a certain level of autonomy. Their lives and their work were dictated by the seasons, not by the factory clock. They also understood what they were producing and how their work impacted their families and their communities. But then there was a big shift that happened, right? We started working in factories that created this loss of autonomy. Workers became parts of a machine ruled by the clock. They also had to move to where these big factories were being built. And the industrialists of the time were absolutely obsessed with efficiency and becoming richer. Also, most workers did not know how to read, how to write, how to calculate. So this necessitated the creation of the modern supervisor, hierarchical structures, top-down decision-making, and really the belief that workers needed to be managed and controlled. And like the great industrialist F.W. Taylor famously told a frontline worker that dared to offer a suggestion to improve something, "You were there to work, not to think." Okay, so let's fast forward to today, and while technology has advanced and our factories and offices, they're a lot nicer, they're a lot safer, they're a lot brighter, but many of the assumptions that we have about work still operate today. And the traditional mindset of top-down control, fragmented work persists even though the nature of our work has fundamentally changed. Most companies, especially large ones, still enforce rigid schedules, excessive monitoring, and centralized decision-making. And these practices really fail to inspire and tap into the incredible potential that exists in your teams. They also fail to address the real challenges that we have around disengagement, mental health issues, and also hamper our ability to adapt to all the changes that are going on around us. So here are just some of the headlines that I see in the news that honestly make me a little sad. People needing to go back to work, being forced to go back to work, people being monitored via different tools, including live video feeds in certain cases. Well, I think it's pretty clear that in order to solve the challenges and opportunities that we have today, we need to really start fundamentally questioning the approach we're taking towards work. But who am I to tell you all these things? So my name is Dirk, and I energize the CEO role at ET Group. And we're considered to be one of the most progressive organizations in Canada. And I really love my work because I get to share a little bit about our vision and about our story about the future of work. And at ET Group, we're a distributed team working out of our homes, out of our purpose-built collaboration hubs, and also at our client locations across the globe. And our purpose is really to help people connect and collaborate better. That's all we do. That's what we focus on, and the whole company is structured to further that purpose. And we help design and implement and train people and support them with their workplace technology. And we focus on working with Canada's largest organizations, both on the corporate side and in government. But behind what we do, we're also a self-managed organizations where there is no managers, there is no hierarchy, there's no fixed budgets, there's no commissions for any of our salespeople, and no performance reviews. In fact, each team at ET Group has a clear purpose. People self-set their salaries. Decision-making is totally decentralized, and we've got financial transparency throughout the organization. In fact, the company is co-owned by myself and my colleagues at ET Group, and by the end of this year, we're probably going to be the first company that's going to be majority owned by an employee ownership trust, thanks to new progressive legislation that was laid out in the latest federal budget. So in terms of results, I think this has been amazing. Since we started this transformation to work in a very different way, our clients have really loved us. We've grown our revenue by 30% for the last 8 years. Our profitability is 2.5 times more than our industry peers. And we have won multiple awards for ways of working, but the most important thing is that 90% of people love working at ET Group, and that's what's super, super exciting. But why does this matter? What does it have to do with unleashing your competitive advantage through distributed work? Well, I believe companies like ET Group and other progressive organizations around the world, they're onto something. I believe we have an opportunity to truly reinvent the way we work in order to tackle the challenges and opportunities that we're facing as organizations and really as society as a whole. So here are 3 of my favorite practices that I believe are critical to unleash your competitive advantage through distributed work. And some of them were already talked to in the previous panel, so thanks for that. First one is decentralizing decision-making. And this story is the story of Buurtzorg. So they're in a company based in the Netherlands. They do community-based healthcare, neighborhood healthcare. They grew from 11 nurses to 10,000 in 10 years, and they're all this network of self-managed teams. Their headquarters, there's only 50 people in headquarters to support a team of 10,000. And what's amazing about this is that they have the highest client satisfaction in the Netherlands. Their absenteeism is lower, 33% lower than the average. They have lower turnover, and their overhead costs are 67% lower compared to their peers. And they also cure their patients faster, looking at the work that they've done. So it's a truly incredible story. The next one is mastering synchronous and asynchronous work. I don't think it's all about, okay, we need to just be virtual first all the time, but it's actually to be able to dance between synchronous and asynchronous work and learn how to, when we're getting together, facilitate conversations differently so we can tap into the intelligence of the different people in the room. And when we're working asynchronously, well, it's not so easy for those of us that have tried to go down that route. We need to learn to communicate better, to document better. But once we really commit to these shifts, the advantages are wonderful, right? Like someone talked about being in meetings all the time, and I actually did raise my hand because I do have time throughout the day, and that's because we've adapted a bunch of practices that allow me not to be in meetings all the time, right? So Dropbox, beautiful example, they were able to decrease their meetings by 25% by adopting this virtual first process and really learning how to communicate and document things better. And also they decreased their product development cycles by 25%, but by creating these practices that allow people to focus. So very precious synchronous time supported by focus time to get work done as well. And now the third one, because I've been speaking here for a little bit too long, I'm actually going to invite all of you to tap into my favorite practice around unleashing your competitive advantage through distributed work. And that is to tap into the collective intelligence of your teams. So what I want to do here is a bit of an exercise, and the more you lean into this, the more you're going to get out of it. So I'm going to ask all of you to share with us some of the practices that you're doing to unleash your competitive advantage through distributed work. And we're going to do this in the following way. First, I'm going to invite you, actually we're going to do this for 60 seconds. So I invite you to grab a pen and paper. So if everyone can just shake a pen and paper if you have it in there. Beautiful. All right, thank you. 60-second reflection. Then we're going to move to a breakout. And I love the setup that we have here. So we can just do 2 teams per table, so split it in the middle. So groups of 3 or 4, that's okay. And you're going to be able to capture a lot of the insights that come up in your reflection and share with one another. And then I'm going to just invite 2 or 3 of you to share some of the insights that were gathered. So let's do a timer for 60 seconds. And here are the 2 questions I'd love for you to ponder. First question is, what are some of the key practices, tools, and processes that you are using to work better in a distributed work environment? So the key practices, tools, and processes that you and your organization is using to work better in a distributed work environment. The second one is, what are some of the key questions and challenges that you're currently facing related to working in this new way? Is that clear? Can I just get a thumbs up for someone? Yeah, perfect. All right. So I'm going to just do a timer here for 60 seconds. Okay, 15 more seconds there. So think about all the wonderful things you're already doing, as well as some of the key challenges that you're having. Can I get a thumbs up for those of you that are ready already? Capture your notes. Got some one person ready, so I'll give 10 more seconds here. Excellent. So now we're going to move to conversations at the table. But here's the extra gist. Because we're going to be crowdsourcing a lot of absolutely wonderful data, I'm going to invite you to grab your phones and scan this QR code, please. And when you do that, you should be able to see a filter. So you can filter those 2 questions that we have. And can someone just tell me if that is working for you? Works? Oh, thank you. That's good. Beautiful. So, as you discuss in your groups, and again, please, just two groups per table. As you discuss, if you can have someone as a scribe to jot down your notes and your answers to these questions, what we're actually going to do after this session, we're going to crowdsource all of this and report this back to you. Okay? So we're going to share all these insights that we gathered together with you. So, okay, we're going to have how much time here? 8 minutes. Okay, we're gonna have 8 minutes for these conversations, so please enjoy your conversation and write down your answers here for these 2 questions. Thank you.
So they know who I am.
Can I get some? All right, so we have 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, so just in case, if you have not shifted gears to the second question, please go ahead and do so, and please, again, capture those notes in that board here. I love a lively room. Okay. No worries, no worries. All right, just 1 more minute left. 1 more minute left, please. Beautiful. So, if you could please raise your hand if you heard something very insightful from your table, or if you feel you could be having this conversation for the rest of your day, just raise your hand. Raise your hands. Beautiful. Now I'm going to invite 2 or 3 of you, and actually, if I can have the mic runners come all the way up here with me. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Beautiful. I'm just going to invite a couple of you to share some of the insights that were surfaced at your table here, knowing that this is a conversation we could probably have for the whole day. So yeah, 1 or 2 folks that have the head and heart to go first here. Oh, we've got one. Perfect. 1 right there and 1 right here. Beautiful. Let's start right here.
Hello, I'm Ashley Marks, and I'm from Edmonton, working out of Electronic Arts, a video game publisher. We had a really good conversation. Just some of the key things that we feel are great unlocks are collaborative tools such as Miro, the G Suite, capabilities of slides and Google Sheets and things like that, so we can work asynchronously, flexible working hours, blocks and calendars so that we can understand when people are available, and more rigorous institutionalization of our processes and information so people have access to that information. Some of the challenges that we are hearing are just different communication styles can be really hard, and to ensure that everyone's feeling connected and a sense of belonging. For us at EA, we are struggling with underutilized facilities and trying to make sure that we understand how many folks are going to be going in, how to provide an in-person experience, as well as a hybrid experience.
Amazing, wonderful insight. So having the right tools from a technology perspective, but also certain challenges related to like real estate, different types of communication styles. Wonderful, wonderful insight. So if we can go back here, go ahead.
Hello, hi. My name is Glenn. I'm from RBC, and I'm here with my 2 colleagues, Aliyah and Aaron. We're talking about focusing on opportunities and challenges. I'll just talk about 2 challenges that we're having. One thing I can share from experience working on a virtual team is it's easy to talk with people virtually, sending an email, sending a chat, but some of the context is lost versus if you're sitting in front of them and you're talking, you can see their body language, their emotions, their face, and that can definitely be detrimental to building good relationships and connecting with people. So that's definitely a challenge that I'm trying to figure out how we can better approach that. The other part is when you're working virtually, it's hard to build team engagement. It's easier to do it in person, I find, versus when you're virtual. And another thing I found that our colleagues here have shared is when you're in person, it's so easy to tap someone on the shoulder and say, hey, could I use your help? I need some support. But when you're virtual, it's a different way to message someone and say, hey, I need some help. There's like a barrier there that we're trying to understand and figure out further from there. So being in person definitely has its advantages in certain phases, but when you're virtual, there's some barriers there that we're hoping to overcome. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. So yeah, the ability, like the loss of context, right, or those facial expressions, things like team engagement, and how do we learn new ways to engage in different modalities? And I think that dance between, working remotely, working in person, can we make the best out of both and figure out how do we dance between those 2? Amazing. Obviously, there is a wealth of experience here and great insights. And actually, what we're going to do next. So again, all the insights that were shared in the app there, we're going to be able to bring this back to the whole group, so you get a collection of everything that was surfaced today, or everything that was captured on the app at least. So let's keep going here. Oh, we heard your thoughts. Okay, so just a quick recap on the 3 aspects. So 1, decentralized decision making. Easier said than done, but there's proven practices out there that can enable your teams to be able to do this. And when we talk about engagement and empowerment and also like no burnout, well, you can see that in self-managed organizations where teams are able to control their own future, things like burnout don't happen People, if they can actually manage their time, the things that they're working on, the decisions that they need to make, they're fully engaged. They burn out way less. We also innovate faster. Lots of wonderful things that come with that. Mastering synchronous, asynchronous work, again, that dance between the two and getting really, really good at doing both. Important piece. And the key one that we can all do right now is how do we tap into that collective intelligence of our teams to surface the things that are working, the challenges that we're facing, and we can be very impactful with our strategies here. Okay, so this one, I just want to make sure we capture everyone that wants to get this report, and I also want to get a little bit of feedback on my very brief keynote here. So if you can just scan this QR code, it's a 30-second survey that we're going to ask here, and you're going to be able to opt in to receive that report that we just crowdsourced here together. So I'll just give 10 seconds here for folks to use their phones. If anyone can just confirm that you got access to that survey there. Sorry, these lights are blinding me a little bit. Does it work? Okay, beautiful. All right. Well, that concludes my little keynote here. So thank you very much for your attention and for your participation. And I think we have a couple of minutes for questions too, yeah? Or no time for questions?
But you can find them.
Yes, we're hosting a roundtable to keep conversations going, so please find us and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.